In November 1937, the most trusted eye in Dutch art history sat down to describe what he had just seen. Abraham Bradius called it a wonderful moment in the life of a lover of art. He called the canvas itself the masterpiece of Johannes Vermeer of Delft, and he added one more line. Quite different from all his other paintings, and yet every inch of Vermeer. Look at it. The supper at Emmaus, Christ breaking bread, the disciples caught in the moment they recognize him. Every inch of Vermeer. Except that not 1 inch of it is Vermeer's own invention. Someone had lifted the whole staging of this scene from another painting entirely, a Caravaggio, hanging in Milan. And the figures themselves will tell you how it was done. Follow them one at a time. You stand in front of it. A table, a loaf of bread, a white jug. Christ at the center, his fingers closed in a calm pinch over the bread. 2 disciples, one on either side, and behind them, one hooded servant standing near the jug, watching. It hangs today in Museum Boijmans in Rotterdam, which is where this story ends, and also where it begins. In 1937, the museum paid 540,000 guilders for it, and the leading scholars of the Netherlands lined up to say the money was well spent. The painter's name was not Johannes Vermeer, it was Han van Meegeren. The usual way to tell this story is as a courtroom drama, but the painting tells it better. Van Meegeren took the staging of this scene from Caravaggio's Supper at Emmaus in the Brera in Milan, the seated Christ blessing the bread, the flanking disciples, the standing servant, the bread and the jug on the table. He borrowed the stage directions. What he did with the actors is the story. 4 figures, 4 stops, the blessing hand, the quiet reaction, the turned back, the watching servant, and each one maps almost too neatly onto a person in the real story of 1937. Start with the hand. Follow the hand. Christ's right hand held over the bread, the fingers closed in a quiet pinch. Set the scene beside the Brera Caravaggio, and the borrowing is not a resemblance, it is a transplant. The blessing over the bread, the whole arrangement around it, moved from Milan to Delft. Van Meegeren chose that source deliberately. A Dutch history painting of Vermeer's era was expected to show an Italian influence, so he gave the experts exactly the Italy they were expecting to find. Who was he? Henricus Antonius van Meegeren, born 1889. His father pushed him toward architecture. He enrolled instead at the Art Academy in The Hague in 1913, won a student prize, and held his first exhibition in 1917. Then the 1920s happened to him. Critics looked at his work and reached again and again for the same 2 words: derivative and devoid of inspiration. He discovered something else, though. His period-accurate copies of the old masters could pass. A restorer and forger named Theo van Wijngaarden helped him with the technical side. And in 1932, he moved to the south of France and spent 6 years perfecting a method. 6 years for one painting. So here is the first question to carry with you. If this is the greatest Vermeer ever found, why does it speak with an Italian accent? Now look right, at the disciple in the gold robe, the one facing Christ. When the biographer Bellori described Caravaggio's Brera composition, he described a louder man in this seat. One of the seated apostles, recognizing him, opens his arms. Look for those arms here. You will not find them. The lips part, the eyes hold on Christ. The hand rests flat on the white tablecloth, going nowhere. Van Meegeren kept Caravaggio's recognition and removed Caravaggio's theatre. Flung open arms read as Baroque Milan. stillness reads as Delft. A Vermeer that shouted would never have passed as a Vermeer. Recognition is still what this figure means, the instant of being certain. It has simply gone quiet. And in 1937, the man who was certain was Abraham Bredius, the world's leading Vermeer scholar, the authority. He looked at this canvas and he recognized it, publicly, in print, as the masterpiece of Johannes Vermeer of Delft. His certainty was not a small thing. It was the certainty of the one man whose recognition settled the question for everyone else. So hold that parted mouth and that resting hand in your eye and ask the second question. If recognition arrives this quietly, this certainly, can it still be wrong? Come to the other disciple now, on the left. He sits with his back to you, grey-green robe, face turned in toward Christ. You cannot see his hands at all. Bellori again, describing the Brera original. The other grasps the table and stares at him in amazement. There is no grip here, no amazement you can see, no hands you can see. Van Meegeren drained that out too, and left something stranger. A witness whose face the painting withholds. Whatever this man sees, you are not shown it. In 1937, one man's view was withheld from the public in exactly that way. His name was Maurits van Danzig. After the Otto Wacker trial of 1932, when forged Van Goghs went through the courts, he had built himself a rigorous, methodical technique for telling authentic paintings from fakes. He studied the Emmaus that same year, 1937. He applied his method, and he concluded that the masterpiece was a fake. He wrote it up. He submitted the article to the Maandblad voor Beeldende Kunsten, and the journal refused to publish it. Their reasoning survives. The time was not yet ripe for a critical approach to this masterpiece. Sit with that sentence. Not that he was wrong, that the time was not ripe for him to be right. Look once more at the disciple who faces away. That is where the story seats him, the one whose view never reaches you. Nobody heard him. One figure remains. Behind the table, in the dark, a single hooded servant in a deep maroon robe, standing beside the white jug. Caravaggio's Brera composition posts two onlookers at this miracle, an innkeeper and an old servant woman. Bellori notes them as present at the miracle and unaware of it. Van Meegeren thinned even the audience. One watcher, not two, standing at the miracle, seeing nothing. In 1937, that one painted witness stood for a chorus. De Vries, Knutel, Hahnemann, Bremer, museum directors and critics, and others besides, all vouching for the painting, all standing in the room with the miracle and seeing exactly what Bredius had told them was there. On the strength of that chorus, Museum Boijmans in Rotterdam paid its 540,000 guilders. The painting went up on the wall. One man with a method said fake and was refused. A room full of authorities said masterpiece and were believed. That is where 1937 leaves it. Leave the gallery for a moment. It is May 1945. The war in Europe is ending, and in the Netherlands, the reckoning with collaboration begins. Han van Meegeren is arrested, not for forgery, as a suspected Nazi collaborator. Here is why. One of his fake Vermeers, a different canvas called Christ and the Woman Taken in Adultery, had passed through the dealer Alois Miedel and into the hands of Hermann Göring. It hung at Göring's estate, Karinhal. American troops later recovered it from the salt mine at Bad Aussee in Austria. Selling Dutch cultural heritage to the occupiers was treated as collaboration with the enemy, and the post-war reckoning with collaboration did not go easy on a man. Van Meegeren had exactly one defense. The painting sold to Göring was never a Vermeer. He had painted it himself. And once he said that, the rest followed. 5 fake Vermeers since 1937, 2 fakes in the style of Pieter de Hoogh, the supper at Emmaus, the masterpiece in Rotterdam, his. Weigh what just happened. Being a forger became his alibi. The confession was not his downfall. He had painted his way out of a collaboration charge. Now go back to the confession. It reads differently. A man facing a collaboration charge will say anything, so the claim had to be proven, and there was only one proof available. He would paint a new Vermeer, under police supervision, with witnesses watching every stroke. He would paint a new Vermeer, one later identified as the 12-year-old Jesus at the temple. A forger painting a forgery to prove his own guilt. And this is where the method he spent 6 years building in France finally comes into the light. Watch how he made a new painting 300 years old. He started with a genuine 17th century canvas. He ground period pigments. But oil paint takes decades to harden, and any chemist can test for that. So he bound his pigments in bakelite, a 20th century synthetic, which in his hands produced the impression of an old painting in oils. Then he baked the canvas to age it. Then he rolled it so the hardened surface would crack. Look at the skin of the Emmaus. Under examination, those cracks are not time. Van Meegeren built the crack himself. The science caught up in full when the Coremans Commission, led by Paul Coremans of Brussels, examined 8 of the forgeries. In the paint, they found the bakelite, chemical proof. The paintings were 20th century, not 17th. The eye could be argued with, the binder could not. Step back from the canvas one last time and let it change in front of you. Stop reading it as a failed Vermeer and it starts reading as something stranger. A near-perfect portrait of 1937 itself. One reading, and it is hard to unsee, is that these smooth, pseudo-classical faces belong to the fascist decade that produced them. The painting is period correct, just for the wrong period. And Bradius, in a way, had told everyone what he was looking for before he ever saw the brushwork. In a letter to a colleague, Schmidt-Degener, he had complained that it was frightful that Vermeer, a man capable of a sublime conception, was reduced to painting little pictures in the style of Douw and Mieris to feed his family, 11 children. Where was the sublime conception and the depth of feeling in them? Van Meegeren did not just copy Caravaggio's gestures, he painted the exact shape of that longing, a sublime conception made to order for the one eye whose recognition would carry all the others. The real tragedy of the story is not Bradius, who was simply wrong. It is Van Dantzig. The one eye in the room that worked was the one the world decided it was not ready to hear. Van Meegeren was convicted of fraud and forgery on the 12th of November 1947 and sentenced to 12 months in prison. He died of a heart attack before serving a single day. The only sentence still being served belongs to the painting. It hangs in Museum Boijmans today, correctly dated to a decade, just the wrong one. So the next time something feels every inch authentic, ask what the recognition is made of. How much of it is the thing in front of you, and how much is what you already needed to see?